Okay, we're making progress as we get here towards the end. Was able to get 3 coats of a satin lacquer on the drums. I wasn't able to record it, just a lot of complexities, and I just ultimately didn't do it because I wanted to get the lacquer on. I've never used an HVLP sprayer before, so I had some learning curve there. So I ended up with some drips in some spots. I think I got them all kind of cleaned up and landed with 3 coats. So I'm going to do one more coat. I will try to record it. I'm going to sand it with a 400 grit. And then go over with a lighter coat, either a thinned out lacquer and probably with a little bit less spray on the gun, and that'll give us hopefully a nice smooth finish. The lacquer I used is a Waco satin lacquer. Picked it up at Home Depot. I tried to find an instrument lacquer, but I could not in a satin. I went to the Rockler store. I looked online. I just couldn't find satin. They were all like a semi-gloss. And we thinned it out, again, 25-30% thinned out with lacquer thinner. Sprays through the gun. Really happy the way it came out. The other thing I did here is I picked up a Lazy Susan. Got this off of Amazon. I didn't affix this down or anything. It was just a pain. But what that allows me to do when I'm spraying, I put this down right, I put the gun in here, and I can move it around. And as long as I don't have anything in the way, can spin it around and make it easy to spray. So I don't have to walk around the table. I can kind of move it as I see fit. So that worked out really well. I'm happy with that. So we'll get that going again. I'll try to record this last coat going on. I need to do some sanding first, but that's where we're at. We're getting pretty close to getting wrapped up here. So hopefully you can see that. And again, I'll wipe that off, but that's basically the lacquer. We're basically sanding off and roughening up the lacquer to put one last coat on. And I guess, again, it's self-leveling, so the idea behind this is scuff it up a little bit, put a light coat on, and make it nice and smooth for the final finish. At least that's what I saw, so there we are. All right. Okay, so done spraying the lacquer. We did 3 coats, and then a final coat. We sanded and did a final coat. Really happy with the way it came out. I'm going to clean these up, take the tape off. We used this satin lacquer, which kind of, again, gave the sheen. I'll try to do some close-ups of it, but I had a learning curve with the gun, to be honest, where I was getting too much material, not enough material. But I think I got it dialed in by the end. You'll see here, you can still see, unfortunately, you can still see where the tape was, and I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. I guess I could have sanded it more or something, but I think that's just a discoloration in the wood from 30 years plus of maybe 40 years of that being on there. So happy with the way it came out. I'm gonna take the tape off, get these ready. Moving on to my least favorite part, which is I'm going to clean all that hardware. I'm guessing I heard this stuff works really well, so I'm going to let it's called Purple Power. I'm going to let the lugs and the rims soak for like 45 minutes, clean them up. I'm going to do this one drum first to see how it all looks, and then move on to the rest because we're getting really close to the end here. Other thing to throw out there is bought drum heads for this set. And because this is the first time I've moved on to something more than a 4-piece kit, and I didn't even buy bass drum heads, but we're talking $200 for, batter and resonant heads, just Remo, and I even bought a pack of them. Like two of those are just packs of, I think they're ambassadors or emperors. But anyways, we'll get the heads on there, but really, really expensive for heads. So I'm glad I saved the old heads, and I have a bunch of heads I can use for, we'll use on the kick drum and get that dialed in. But we're getting close to the end here. I'm not going to film all the cleaning. That's repetitive, and I hate doing it anyway. So we're going to get some hardware cleaned up. We're going to get this one drum. I'll try to do some close-ups with some good lighting on how this drum actually came out, and then we'll call it a day. All right, let's try that again. Let's put the clear ambassador on the bottom, not the top. These going. Okay, so the first drum, the 13, is done. I don't have it tuned or anything. Just got finger tightened, or a little bit more than finger tightened the heads on here. Because I want to see how it's going to set up. I always like my Remos at the top. So if I'm going to put this on the side, mounted like this, I might have to tweak it a little bit. But happy the way it turned out. These badges are a little wonky. I was able to get them back on. I do need to get better double-sided tape so they stick flush to the drum like they were. But was able to use the original little brads here, little tacks. Actually, I used those replacement ones here that I got. I had to trim them down to fit. So I used those on these where they were intact, and then over here I used the original ones, and again, some double-sided tape to hold it down. So really like the way it turned out. I mean, it's not perfect, but for what I'm going to use it for and what I was going for, I think it's a nice looking drum. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest. I'm not going to record it because it's a lather, rinse, repeat. But I'm going to get the set all good to go, get some better pictures of all these, and then we'll be done.